Larry Gonzales with your Mortgage Market Minute, talking about what's going on in our economy that is affecting our housing market, getting local, what it's doing locally in our market as well. And before I go on, please like, comment, or subscribe. Love to hear from you. We started this week with a lot of hope. But I had an old CEO used to tell me, Larry, hope is not a course of action. The hope was that inflation reports that came out this week, in particular the Consumer Price Index report that came out on Tuesday, would be a positive one. Positive in the sense that the inflation numbers would come down lower than expectations. Well, hope is not a course of action. The CPI report, which came out on Tuesday, month over month was steady. It was 0.1%. The core rate, which strips out food and energy prices, was up 0.6%. The biggest cause that caused inflation to go up were shelter prices, which went up 0.7%. Month over month. The actually had food was actually up 0.8%. Energy prices were actually down a little bit and are down 11% since they reached their highs earlier in this year. But the only reason inflation didn't really go up more was that energy prices were down. And what is a shelter? What does a shelter cost us? Rent. Rent's up 0.7% this year. It's actually up almost 7% total year over year. And so for the consumer, this is you and me, inflation didn't really go down. It went down 8.5 to 8.3% year over year, but really steady. It's almost like we're stuck. All right. So everything that the Fed has done to this point, right, when we got, I think our peak was like 9.1%. Everything that we've done to this point has got us down to like 8.3. And it looks like probably next month's reading will probably be about the same. That is not good news. And interest rates reacted accordingly. We got up above 6% for a conforming 30-year fixed rate mortgage. 6%, the highest we've been since 2008. That's obviously not good news for people who are looking to buy a home. On Wednesday, the Producer Price Index report came out, and that came out pretty good, month over month, steady, 0.1%, but the core PPI report actually was up 0.4%. So again, inflation's not coming down. It's just we're kind of stuck right now. And, here's the funny thing, or not funny, but, the Fed has been they've been talking about bringing inflation down since the beginning of the year. 9 months in, we're still near 10% inflation. All right, here's another thing. We're actually doing pretty good compared to the rest of the world. UK, they're above 11%, and Germany, they're very high right now. I was listening, I think it was Jim Cramer today, who was saying that the price of bread doubles in Germany every day. I don't know if that's true or not, but I thought it was kind of funny coming from Jim Cramer, but it's not funny if you're trying to eat a piece of bread in Germany. We're doing okay, relatively speaking, but we are not an isolated economy, and what happens in Europe is going to affect us eventually. Most of the businesses in the S&P 500, guess where they get a lot of their business from? From Europe. What is going to bring down inflation? Obviously, the Fed, they're going to raise the Fed funds rate in November, probably 75 basis points. I don't think they'll go drastic and raise them 100 basis points, but I wouldn't put it past them. The other thing that they need, and I don't see them controlling this, is unemployment to go up. All right, unemployment. Every week we get weekly unemployment reports, and actually they've been going down the last 3 weeks. We need unemployment. So unemployment's like around 3.7%. We're going to need unemployment to go up drastically. But if you look around, there are so many. If somebody loses a job, they can go someplace else and get a job. So it's going to be very difficult for the unemployment rate to go up to 5% in the near term. This isn't something that's going to happen overnight. So is inflation going to go away? If it's only gone down less than 1 point over 9 months, it might take a while unless the Fed starts jacking up that Fed funds rate even more. And I keep talking about what's their course of action. What are they going to do? I don't know. Is getting down to 2% realistic? No, it's not. They can't even get us below 8%. We got to see what's going to happen. We got to keep raising the Fed funds rate. Unemployment's got to go up. Here's a couple things for people who are, that are affected. And we talk about prices. Prices are going down right now. All right. 6% inflation, 6% mortgage rate. Yeah, the people can't afford that. Not where the prices of homes are. 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 6%, you could buy a 6% home at the prices of homes back then. But today, you can't afford that house that was bought at 2.25% a year ago. Hell, not even a year ago. A house that you can't do that. Interest rates have doubled since the beginning of the year. So home prices are coming down. That's a fact. Now, is the housing market going to crash? We're going to have another 2008, 2009? No, it's not going to happen, because people who already own homes, they're in pretty good shape. They are. They got a lot of them. They have a lot of equity. And a matter of fact, here's one of the things that I get to every week. I talk about inventory. Inventory is kind of slowing down. It's that time of the year. We're in school now. People aren't selling homes. But here's the other thing that's causing inventory to stay low. Builders aren't building homes. It's too expensive. They're not making money. All right. Businesses are in the business of making money. Builders aren't making money. So they've slowed their roll. People are actually taking advantage of all the equity they have in their homes. They're not doing cash out refinances now. So they're not doing those mortgages. They're doing home equity lines of credit. I know I'm doing that on a couple of homes myself. So, and then here's the other thing. Sellers are more reluctant to sell now. Not just because their kids are in school, but because where the hell are they going to move? All right. They may sell their home. They may make a couple $100,000, but their rent is going to go up. Why are they going to give up their mortgage payment that they got at 2%, 2 to 3%, and then go pay twice as much, up to twice as much, to go rent a similar sized home? They're not going to do that. So right now, sellers are going to sit on the sidelines because they got nowhere else to go. I have nowhere else to go. Officer and a gentleman. It's hilarious. I got nowhere else to go. So inventory is down. It's down. And it's not going to go up until probably in the November, December timeframe, when people start getting ready to PCS. Where are we at with inflation? I know I'm spending a ton of time on it right now, but the inflation thing is kicking us all in the junk. Is inflation going to go down? Man, there's some things, Fed's going to do their thing, but there's some things that are out of the Fed's control. All right. The government. All right. We've been depleting our strategic oil reserves. We got to replenish. Government's talking about buying up oil to rebuild our reserves. All right. Well, if energy prices start going down and they start buying, that's going to cause energy prices to go up, oil prices to go up. All right. As the war with Ukraine continues to go on into the winter, I've never been in Europe in the winter, but everybody I know who's been to Europe, which is a lot of people, and live there in the winter, they say it's really cold. And if you watch history, well, all the movies I see, like Saving Private Ryan, all these other ones, it got really cold in Europe in the winter. And if we have a really, really cold Europe in the winter, guess what's going to go up? Energy prices. Energy prices. So, guess what? How is the energy piece of inflation going to come down? It's not. And, we got supply chain issues. Chengdu in China is closed again. So we got all these other things going on. Russia's not giving up despite Ukraine's, what they're doing. Ukraine seems to be kicking ass everywhere I read, but nobody's bragging about it because we have no idea what Putin's going to do. Because he's obviously shown that he's not stable. So where are we at? Rates are up, inventory's down, prices are down.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Is this a good time to buy a home? It depends. All right, and it's not a good time to buy a home if your rate is necessarily, say, 6% on $1 million home. You're looking at, whereas $1 million home mortgage payment on $1 million home was maybe $5,000 a month, 7 months ago, 8 months ago. Now, that $1 million home is costing you probably around $8,000 a month. Yeah, about $8,000 a month for the same home. Right now, with rates where they're at, that you could do that. People could do that, but what if they want to rent the house? What if they're not going to be able to rent the house for $8,000 a month? So So there's a risk, and where there's a will, there's a way, and when you're working with a good company, all right, they're going to find a way. And I just had a client. We have this program. Obviously, sellers are starting to give a lot of credit, all right, because they want to sell their house, and they know they're not going to get the prices that they wanted, and they're not even going to sell because the people can't afford to buy at the rates where they're at. So they're giving seller credits to help out. All right, here's another thing. I actually had a client, and she was in contract and having serious buyer's remorse while she was in contract. And this is pretty normal because you're starting to freak out, right? Your first home you bought was in Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and the home cost $250,000, and now you're buying $1 million home. Yeah, it's pretty stressful. I hear you. I've never had a client regret, though, buying a home in Hawaii. Never had a client regret buying a home. Every client I have had who has said, I'm going to rent for a year, has regretted renting for a year. Every client who has stayed in base housing their entire tour year and left, they have regretted not buying a home in Oahu. Okay? That is a fact. All right? I haven't had one client who said, man, I am so glad I didn't buy a home when I lived in Oahu. Matter of fact, those who come back, every single one of them who comes back later, they all kick themselves in the rear and said, man, I wish I would have bought a house. All right. And you could say the same for just about any duty station. All right. So time is not on your side. All right. I waited way too long before I bought my first house using my VA benefit. All right. I didn't buy a home with my VA benefit till I'd been in the service for 20 years. All right. But I didn't know. I didn't know any better. And that's a frustrating thing. And one of the things that we do here at Align is we educate our veterans on their VA home loan benefit. I know other people do it too, and that's good, but nobody does it better than us. And, so I waited till I've been in for 20 years. And I could have bought in Hawaii 6 years previous. 6 years previous. Because I lived in base housing for 6 years here. I gave up $300,000 to BAH. All right. I really don't want people saying what I say every day about living in base housing for 6 years. I wish I would have known. All right, that's why I'm so adamant about educating others on their VA home loan benefit. All right. You can buy a home now. And yeah, you know what? The sticker shock, it's real. I felt it, man. Every day when I bought new construction, my first home here. It's pretty funny. I love my loan officer. She was a great lady. And there was a little bit of lead time because it was new construction. And I couldn't believe that I qualified to buy a home for $830,000. Could not believe it. I called her every week during the process and asked her if I was still pre-approved. Just because I was like pinching myself. Every time she'd say yes, I was pinching myself because I just couldn't believe that I could qualify to buy a home for $830,000. And she would laugh at me. She said, yes, Larry, you're still pre-approved to buy a home. Week. All right. I closed on a home 7 years ago. $838,000 is what I paid for it. Last I checked, the same homes on the block were selling for over $1.5 million. Not quite doubled, but not too shabby an investment for a guy who thought he was buying I was out of my league. Much like when I got married, I was out of my league. And you know what? It's turned out pretty good. So, hey, choose your spouse wisely, choose your house wisely. Hey, that rhymes. Holy shit. You're going to have to use that. So, what is the lesson there? Choose your spouse and choose your house wisely. All right? They are both good investments if you do it right. I did it right, honey. I did it right. Have a great weekend. If you are on the fence, if you want to know more about seller buy down, if you want to know about your pre-approval amount, and if you haven't gone to talk to your lender about your pre-approval amount because it's changed with interest rates a little higher, all right, give me a call. All right, I'd love to help you out. All right, have a great weekend. Aloha.